Taekook fanfiction story. When actor and singer Kim Taehyung was secretly married to CEO Jungkook, are you ready for this roller coaster love story? Let's begin. Just a reminder, it is a fan fiction. Pure imaginations of mine. Kim Taehyung walked onto the stage like he had been born from a dream. Under the lights he was breathtaking, almost unreal. His beauty wasn't the kind you noticed and forgot. It stayed with you like a song stuck in your head. His sharp jaw, soft eyes, and warm smile looked as if they were crafted to break hearts. Fans called him ethereal. Photographers said he was cinematic. To everyone who saw him, he felt like something too perfect to be real. On screen he moved like poetry. Off-screen he was a singer with a voice that could melt even the coldest soul. His laugh was soft but addictive, and with one glance he could make thousands fall deeper in love. To the world, Taehyung was untouchable. A star so bright that people couldn't help but imagine owning a piece of him. His fandom was massive, filled with admirers who created fantasies about his smile, his touch, his love. But none of them knew the truth. Because Taehyung wasn't single. He was already married, secretly, to Jungkook. If Taehyung was light, Jungkook was thunder. He was the most powerful CEO in South Korea, a man who ruled entire markets with a single decision. He had everything: money, power, and looks that made people stop in their tracks. His body was strong, decorated with tattoos and piercings that whispered of rebellion, but his face could turn cold in an instant. In business meetings he was fierce, in control. Someone people feared and respected. But at home with Taehyung he was different. He was possessive, protective, and endlessly devoted. The world saw Jungkook as untouchable, yet he had given his heart to one man, Taehyung. And he didn't just love him. He wanted him completely. Jungkook's love was intense, sometimes jealous, but always real. Their marriage was a secret sealed by promises and late-night vows. No cameras, no guests, only them whispering yes with trembling hands. Taehyung's agency had demanded the truth stay hidden. To fans, Taehyung had to remain the perfect fantasy. Single, flawless, available only in dreams. In South Korea, same-gender marriage was still something people struggled to accept, and revealing the truth could destroy Taehyung's career. So they kept their love in the shadows. But secrecy came with its own pain. Taehyung had to smile for the world while hiding the most important part of his life. Jungkook had to watch his husband on screen, kissing actresses, holding hands, pretending to fall in love for the sake of a script. He told himself it was just work, but deep inside it burned. Jealousy and love fought in his chest every time another man or woman touched Taehyung in front of a camera. At home, in their high-rise apartment overlooking the glowing city, they built a private world. Only they could enter. Jungkook's style filled the place. Dark furniture, sharp lines, quiet strength. Taehyung added warmth with soft blankets, old records, and small touches of color. There, in that secret space, they were just two men in love. They cooked, argued, laughed, and held each other through the nights when the weight of the world felt too heavy. The fans outside spun fantasies, never knowing the truth. They imagined Taehyung as theirs to dream about, while Jungkook carried the bittersweet ache of being his real, hidden husband. This was how their story began. Two men living between light and shadow, public fantasy and private reality. A love powerful enough to survive in secret, but tested every day by jealousy, by fame, and by the constant demand to stay hidden. And though the world didn't know it yet, storms were coming. The penthouse was unusually quiet that night. Taehyung had returned from a late-night shoot, the smell of makeup still clinging faintly to his skin, exhaustion heavy in the way he dropped his bag near the couch. The city outside glittered against the floor-to-ceiling windows, but inside, only the low amber glow of the lamp kept the shadows soft. Jungkook was already home, jacket gone, sleeves rolled to his elbows, tattoos peeking through as he leaned against the counter with a glass of water. He watched Taehyung with an expression that was both tender and wounded. "Another midnight," Jungkook said quietly. "Do you even remember what our bed feels like anymore?" Taehyung sighed, unbuttoning his shirt, too tired to even look up. "You know it's the last stretch of filming. After the premiere, things will slow down." Jungkook set the glass aside and walked closer, his voice low but steady, like he was trying not to break something fragile between them. "You've been saying that for months, Tae. I keep waiting. But it's always another drama, another photo shoot, another world tour." He reached out, fingers brushing Taehyung's wrist gently, guiding his hand to stillness. "What about me?" Taehyung finally met his eyes. Those dark, demanding eyes that were always softest only for him. "You know I love you, Jungkook. Don't say it like I don't." "I know," Jungkook whispered, leaning his forehead against Taehyung's. "But loving me and being here with me, they're not always the same thing. I just—" His voice cracked and he let out a quiet laugh to hide it. "I miss my husband even though he sleeps next to me." The words sank between them like a weight. Taehyung's chest tightened, guilt threading into his bones. He cupped Jungkook's jaw with one tired hand, thumb grazing the piercing on his lower lip. "What are you asking me for, Koo?" Jungkook's answer was immediate, almost desperate. "Time. A break. I want us to breathe. I want us to build something more permanent. A family." His hand slipped to Taehyung's waist, grounding him. "I want a little of you that the world can't take away from me." Taehyung froze. The word family painted images in his mind he had carefully avoided. A child's laughter echoing in the halls, Jungkook's smile softening in ways cameras would never capture, his own body changing. The thought was both beautiful and terrifying. "You mean, if I got pregnant?" Taehyung said slowly, as if saying it aloud would make it too real. Jungkook's eyes lit briefly with longing. "Yes. I want it, Tae. I want us." Taehyung swallowed, pulling back slightly, uncertainty flooding him. "But what if it ruins everything? My career, my image? The fans, they'll move on. They'll forget me. And my body." He glanced down, fingers brushing over his flat stomach as if protecting it. "What if I'm not me anymore? What if you stop looking at me the same way?" Jungkook's brows furrowed, his grip tightening as if to anchor Taehyung's spiraling thoughts. "Don't ever say that. You think I care if you gain weight if your body changes? Tae, you could lose everything the world worships, and I'd still want you more than my own breath. But the fans, they're not mine to care about," Jungkook interrupted, voice gentle but firm. "You are. I don't care about the agency's rules, the public's obsession, or whatever fantasy they built around you. I just want you here with me. And if that means slowing down, if that means a baby, if that means you resting instead of running yourself into the ground, I'll take it. All of it." Taehyung's lips parted, trembling with the weight of Jungkook's plea. What if I disappear from their eyes? If I fade?" Jungkook leaned down, pressing his lips against Taehyung's temple, his voice raw and steady. "Then let them forget. Or remember, I'll remind you every day of who you are to me. You're not my idol, Tae. You're my husband. My only one. And I want the world to stop taking so much of you away from me. For a moment, silence hung heavy, the kind that carried both comfort and fear. Taehyung's heart beat loud against his ribs, torn between two worlds, the glittering, demanding stage that had raised him and the quiet, desperate love that waited at home. Jungkook, he whispered finally, brushing his thumb over his husband's cheekbone. I'm scared. I know, Jungkook admitted, pulling him into his chest. His voice was tender, low, like a promise too fragile to break. But I'll carry your fears with mine. Just don't keep pushing me away. Don't let this life steal the one we could have together. Taehyung closed his eyes, breathing in Jungkook's scent, letting himself sink into the warmth that fame could never replicate. The idea of a family still scared him. But so did the thought of losing this man who held him like the world itself could end if he let go. And in that dimly lit room between love and fear, the question of tomorrow lingered unanswered. The week stretched long. Taehyung's schedule was unrelenting. Rehearsals, shoots, interviews. Every time Jungkook reached out, it was met with a gentle excuse, a kiss on the cheek, a promise of later. He knew Taehyung didn't mean to hurt him. But each night the bed felt colder, and each morning the ache in his chest deepened. Jungkook swallowed it. He smiled when Taehyung left before dawn, he cooked when Taehyung returned past midnight, and he whispered good luck into a phone call that ended too quickly. But inside something began to splinter. The desire he had confessed, a family, a life away from endless flashing cameras, lingered unacknowledged. Taehyung had only nodded, hesitant, worried about fading in the eyes of the world. That hesitation echoed louder than silence. At the John Corporation offices. The next day, Jungkook sat in his glass-walled office at the top of the tower. Suit jacket discarded, tie loose. His employees moved carefully around him, sensing the storm. The air was tense. Even the hum of printers felt too loud. Why is this report incomplete? Jungkook's voice cracked like a whip across the room. His assistant, pale and trembling, stammered, "Sir, the numbers from finance are still pending." "I don't want excuses," Jungkook snapped, slamming the folder shut. "You've had 3 days. Fix it now." The assistant bowed repeatedly, nearly stumbling in his rush to leave. A few desks away, another manager was giving a presentation. One minor typo on the screen caught Jungkook's eye. "Stop," Jungkook barked. "Do you people not know how to present? We're not running a kindergarten here. Fix it before I lose my patience." Silence fell like a stone. Nobody dared breathe. From the far side of the room, John Jimin, Jungkook's older brother, calm and sharp-eyed, stepped forward. Unlike the others, he walked slowly, unafraid of Jungkook's mood. He had seen this before, the rare days when his younger brother's armor cracked. "Everyone give us a moment," Jimin said gently. The staff quickly fled. Relieved. When the door closed, Jimin leaned against Jungkook's desk, crossing his arms. "What's going on with you?" "Nothing," Jungkook muttered, staring down at the desk. His jaw clenched. "Don't lie to me," Jimin said softly. "You're tearing into employees who've done nothing wrong. That's not you, Jungkook. So what is it?" For a moment, Jungkook said nothing. His hand tightened into a fist, veins standing out against the tattoos. Finally he exhaled sharply, voice low, bitter. "It's Taehyung." Jimin's brows lifted slightly. He didn't press, just waited. Jungkook leaned back, staring at the ceiling as if words were harder than steel contracts. I told him I want to slow down. To start a family. Just us. Something real. But his voice cracked. He swallowed hard, forcing calm into his tone. He's scared. Of losing fans. Of changing. He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either. He didn't even consider it. Jimin's expression softened. He could see the pain in his younger brother's eyes, buried beneath the anger. And now you're carrying that hurt everywhere you go, he said quietly. Including here. Jungkook's jaw tightened. Maybe I am. But how can he not see it? I give him everything. My world, my name, my future. And all I want is a piece of him that belongs only to me. Not to his fans. Not to his agency. Just ours. His hand trembled slightly on the desk. And he's afraid of being forgotten, when the only person who could ever forget him is me, and I never will. For a moment, the office was silent except for Jungkook's heavy breathing. Jimin reached out, placing a steadying hand on Jungkook's shoulder. You love him so much it's eating you alive. But Jungkook, Taehyung's world is not as simple as yours. Fame isn't a switch he can turn off. His fears are real even if they hurt you. Jungkook's lips pressed into a hard line. So I'm supposed to just wait? Pretend it doesn't matter? Pretend my chest doesn't feel like it's breaking. Every time he leaves before I can even taste morning with him? Not pretend, Jimin said firmly. Be patient. Love him the way you always have, with loyalty, with protection. You think he's not torn? Yes. He just hides it better. He'll come around. But only if you don't scare him away with your anger. Jungkook lowered his gaze, shame flickering in his dark eyes. I don't want to scare him. I want to keep him. All of him. Jimin's voice softened. Then prove it. Show him that your love is bigger than his fears. Wait, Jungkook. Even if it hurts. Jungkook closed his eyes for a moment, drawing a long breath. As if trying to force steel back into his spine. When he opened them, his voice was quiet. I'll wait. But I don't know how long I can hide this ache, Hyung. Jimin squeezed his shoulder once, understanding. That's what brothers are for. When the weight's too heavy, lean on me. Don't take it out on your people or on him. Jungkook nodded, though the pain in his chest didn't ease. He was Jungkook. The strongest man in the country, the CEO who could command markets with a word. But in love he felt fragile. Because the one person who held his heart didn't yet understand that it was breaking. To be continued? Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Love you all.